Think of buying a computer like renting office space. Most of us walk into a store, see a massive number next to RAM, and assume it guarantees a blindingly fast computer. We treat memory size like a high score, expecting a direct upgrade in speed. But RAM doesn't generate processing power. It's simply the physical desk you work on. It holds the active tasks you're dealing with right this second: your open browser tabs, your running game, your background Spotify playlist. If your desk is too small, you have to constantly swap out files just to read a new one. A tiny RAM capacity forces your computer to constantly shuffle data, crippling even the fastest processor and making the entire system stutter. To see how this actually works out financially, look at this chart tracking RAM upgrades. As you buy larger capacities, the price tag aggressively climbs. But trace the line showing the actual performance gain for an everyday user. Right here at the 16 gigabyte mark, the performance line goes completely flat. Once your desk is large enough to hold all your active tasks, buying a bigger desk yields absolutely zero speed increase. The price keeps rising, but the practical benefit vanishes. By the end of this video, you will know the precise memory tier required for your daily workflow, allowing you to bypass the sales pitch and stop paying for empty space. Choosing your memory capacity is a strict calculation. You match the hardware directly to your actual habits and keep the rest of your budget. Modern computing started around the 1 gigabyte tier. Back then, websites were mostly text, and nobody expected their machine to run multiple programs at once. You opened one app, used it, and closed it. Try booting a modern operating system on 1 gigabyte today, and switching between apps feels like wading through molasses. You will only find this capacity now in smart TVs, in-car dashboards, or tiny embedded devices engineered to do exactly one job. A step up from that was 2 gigabytes, which became the baseline for budget laptops around the late 2000s. If you remember machines like the Asus EPC, you were working on 2 gigs. You could type documents and load a single web page, but a heavier system like Windows Vista would hit a hard memory wall and freeze. That hardware limitation forced the rise of lightweight alternatives like Chrome OS to squeeze any remaining usability out of those machines. By 2010, the standard shifted to 4 gigabytes. This was the era of Windows 7, where you could finally keep 3 to 5 browser tabs open, write an email, and stream a video without the computer immediately threatening to shut down. Today, 4 gigabytes is running on fumes. It handles ultra-basic single tasks, but launch a dozen browser tabs alongside a modern application, and your system will quickly choke under the weight. Everything from 1 to 4 gigabytes is now survival-level hardware. For the mainstream user, these capacities will instantly bottleneck any modern workflow. Around 2015, manufacturers established 8 gigabytes as the modern baseline. This was the threshold where everyday computers finally stopped freezing up during normal use. With an 8 gigabyte setup, you can keep 10 to 15 browser tabs open, run standard Office applications smoothly, and handle light gaming on lower settings. But there is a clear ceiling. Load up massive photo files or attempt heavy professional tasks, and your system will start gasping for breath. You end up having to manually close background programs just to keep your main task running. That brings us to 16 gigabytes. If you are buying a mid-range computer like a Dell XPS or a MacBook Pro today, this is the definitive sweet spot. You can play modern games on high settings, edit 1080p video, and juggle 20-plus Chrome tabs at the exact same time. The machine actually feels like it is working with you rather than against you. This matrix breaks down the practical difference. At 8 gigabytes, your outcome is smooth basic computing, but the trade-off is manual application management. You have to police your own software. At 16 gigabytes, your outcome is seamless multitasking. You stop checking the task manager to see what is slowing your computer down. The trade-off is simply the higher upfront cost at checkout. It does have its boundaries. Pushing massive 4K video projects or running multiple virtual machines will still test a 16 gigabyte system, marking the limit of standard consumer needs. For 90% of consumers, paying the extra premium for 16 gigabytes is the most mathematically sound decision you can make. It virtually eliminates daily technical friction and keeps your machine relevant for years. We hit the heavyweight class at 32 gigabytes. This tier is engineered strictly for power users who treat intense multitasking as a full-time job. We are talking about editing dense 4K video timelines without the preview stuttering, working inside massive Photoshop files, or live streaming while running a demanding game on ultra settings. If your daily routine consists of writing emails, browsing the web, and watching YouTube, upgrading to 32 gigabytes is a completely wasted expense. It will yield absolutely zero speed improvements for those tasks. Then we cross into the extreme enterprise tiers, 64 and 128 gigabytes. Here, workloads aren't measured in megabytes. They are measured in massive, dense gigabytes. At this scale, professionals are rendering 8K video effects, running multiple virtual machines side by side, executing full server virtualization, and feeding data-hungry AI machine learning models. At these extreme capacities, raw speed takes a backseat to absolute stability. When time is money, professionals throw massive amounts of memory at a problem to guarantee their software won't crash while rendering complex layers. Above 32 gigabytes, RAM functions as an industrial tool for high-stakes professional workflows. Buying it as a flex for a home office PC is a financial waste. Let's map out exactly what you need. The ultimate rule is to match your memory directly to your daily reality, not your ego or a salesman's pitch. This chart gives you the direct breakdown. If you use your computer strictly for web browsing, answering emails, and light office work, take path A, buy an 8 gigabyte machine. If you play games, do light photo editing, or keep 24 tabs open while watching videos, you fall into path B. 16 gigabytes is your definitive choice. Unless you are actively editing 4K video, streaming heavy gameplay, or rendering large 3D datasets, you do not need path C or D. Stop at 16. When you walk into a store and an employee tries to upsell you to 32 or 64 gigabytes under the guise of future-proofing a basic machine, forcefully decline the offer. However, choosing the correct capacity is irrelevant if the memory sticks don't match your system's specific generation. You will see labels like DDR3, DDR4, and DDR5 on the spec sheets. If you buy a DDR5 stick for a motherboard built for DDR4, it physically will not fit into the slot. Achieving the perfect PC setup requires balancing the right capacity with strict compatibility. To decode those DDR generations and guarantee your next upgrade actually works, click the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you there.